Hello, everyone. I am just Jules, where I'm just Jules. That's it. Okay, anyways, hope you guys are doing good. So I was sitting here ranting and raving as I often do, and I got to thinking of a metaphor that would be the best way to describe who I am and what kind of man I'm looking for. All right. So there are some people, like let's say you're standing in the grocery line and you see all those tabloid magazines and you're curious, your intrigue is piqued because you see the headlines and you're like wondering what's going on in there. And you flip through it and stuff, you get the little highlights, the little blurbs, you read a little bit until it's time, your turn to get your groceries and stuff, and then you haphazardly fold it back up and stick it back on the shelf. That's one type of person that tries to get to know me. The other type of person sees me as like Cosmopolitan, Glamour, or any other girly magazine. And you can take girly magazine any way you see fit. Because some of you might think girly magazine and think something else, which is entirely possible because there are guys who see me that way. And most of those are magazines tend to have more pictures than they do articles, right? And so, they'll flip through the pages and stuff, see all the pictures, go through them, all the pictures. Maybe they'll stop and read a couple articles while they're at it and stuff. Oh, this is a good headline. I'll just read this a little bit. And then they get to the end and then the magazine's done. That's all they needed to know. That's all they wanted to know. And so they stick that back on the shelf. Then there are the people who see me as an academic journal, which is a book or a journal of diagrams and flow charts and thick articles, in-depth articles. And these people read me and study me cover to cover. And sometimes they reread me and learn me. Those are friends. Then there are the people who see me as a newspaper, where they can just pick me up every morning and flip through the headlines and stuff and read me over their morning coffee. And then once they're done, they fold it up and then use it to line their kitty litter box. Then there are the men who view me as a novel. And they read me cover to cover. But it's a standalone novel, but with a cliffhanger ending. Now these men read that standalone book cover to cover, and they think they know me, and they think that's all there is to hear. And they never bother asking what happens next after they reach the cliffhanger. They just close the book and put it back on the shelf, thinking they know everything there is to know about me. What everybody fails to realize is that I am none of those things. I'm a book series. I'm a series of books, and each one at the end of the year has a cliffhanger. And the man that I am meant to be with is a man who will pick up the first book, read it cover to cover, get to that cliffhanger, and be like, what happens next? I want to know. And so he gets the second book in the series, and he reads through it. And this is the next year that he learns me. And he wants to know more. And he reads the second book cover to cover. And he reaches the end where there's a cliffhanger. And instead of closing just the book, he looks at the back of the book to see what books come next. And he gets those books. And he reads them every year. Each year he goes through and reads the book that is Julie. And he gets to that cliffhanger ending and wants to know what happens next, wants to know more, wants to know me. And I am a book series that would require a lifetime to fully understand and get. I'm fucking weird. I'll just come right out and say it. I am not a book that can be read in simply one sitting. I'm not a magazine that's just simply an article. I'm a library. So that is who I am. And if you're going to be my man, that is how you have to understand. That's something that you need to understand about me. I am not for the faint of heart. I evolve and change regularly. That's why some people probably think I have DID, dissociative disorder, multiple personalities. It's not that I have multiple personalities because I'm Julie, whether I'm speaking on the Just Jules channel or if I'm writing my book or I'm writing poetry or I'm cleaning the kitchen or scrubbing the toilet or going off running errands or talking to friends or, you know, in my good moods, in my bad moods, in my sad moods, in my antisocial moods, in my extroverted moods, in my passionate moods, in my Julie's freaking at her fucking wit's end moods. But I'm constantly in a state of evolution and change. I don't intend to stay the same for the rest of my life. I don't want to stay the same because how fucking boring is that? Live your entire life and you don't change at all. That's not who I am and that's not how I roll. I need a man who will read all my books, read all my words. I want my pages dog-eared, where he folds down the top of the page or grabs a highlighter and some post-it notes and makes notes in my book. I want him to ask me those questions. I want him to highlight the parts of me that stick out to him the most. I want him to be able to memorize some of my lines. Really, really know me. And not just know me and think that he can read one book and think he's got me down pat. I need a man who wants to read the whole of me. And the whole of me evolves over time. I'm going to be in a constant state of change and evolution from now until the day I die. Because, you know, if you guys saw me about 4 or 5 years ago, I was at my freaking, you know, people talk about, you know, my, you know, dark night of the soul. And people throw around dark night of the soul a lot. Like, you know, dark night of the soul is something profound. Now, depression, which most people would say, you know, haphazardly say, the dark night of the soul is just depression. No, it's not. No, it is not. The dark night of the soul is at your psychologically, emotionally, and spiritual lowest point that you can possibly get. Most people, there's a lot of people who don't survive their dark night of the soul because most people who experience the dark night of the soul end up suicidal. That's at the point where they're contemplating death. And it's a battle between life and death within that person. So people throwing around dark night of the soul, it's not just depression. Dark night of the soul is the dark night of the soul. That's the period of time in your life that you're actually contemplating the value of your own life and fighting with the light and the darkness within you. And those who overcome that rise. Now, I've been at my dark night of the soul. My dark night of the soul was 4 or 5 years ago. And it lasted, actually it ended about 4 years ago. And it was a slow crawl, clawing my way out of that shit. Because I had reached a point where I was suicidal. And, I mean, I was really bad suicidal. I had actually tried to take my own life. I tried to OD. Not once, but twice. The first time, though, I almost died. I was like, that close. But God had other plans for me. He's like, nope, you get to stay on earth, sweetheart. He pulled me through. And God is what got me up until this point. I would not be sitting here breathing, making this message to you guys, telling you my experience, if it wasn't for the Lord, our Father in heaven. God is the only reason why I'm still breathing today. And when God pulled me out of addiction and he saved me from taking my own life when I tried, he pulled me out of it. And that was when I made a promise to God. I said, Lord Father, I promise you, I will never take my own life. Just please take care of me, Lord. I made a promise to God that I would not take my life. And so every time I do feel suicidal inclinations, something in my teeth. Sorry about that. I would pray. Like, Lord, please be with me. Help me through this. And, like a couple days ago, I was sitting here depressed. It was like my anxiety and my depression hit me. It was just like symbols and stuff. How one hit me from one end, the other one hit me the other end, cling. And I was sit there stuck, immobile for 2 days on my bed, festering. And I was so depressed I couldn't move, let alone get dressed. And I was so anxious. I wanted to it felt like I was running a marathon, but I was sitting still. And it was horrible feeling having those things sandwiching me together. That I was just like, and then I started imagining awful things. I won't go into it. But I had the fleeting thoughts. And under my circumstances, it's kind of understandable, judging by what my experience is. But that's neither here nor there. But the first thing I did was I started speaking to God in my head. I sat there and prayed, Lord, help me through this. Just get me through the day. Just get me through the day. Get me 5 more minutes. Okay, 10 more minutes. Okay, Lord, give me another hour. Help me through this for another hour. And he stood by me, and I knew he was there listening. And he drove those thoughts from my head. God is real, and God is good. And if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be sitting here making this video for you guys right now. Because God is the one that saved me when I tried to off myself. So, and that's the thing. That's what sucks about BPD. It sucks having it. Because it's emotions on steroids. When I love with intense passion. And what's funny about my diagnoses, and I actually spent 6 months, and I went through and I journaled, and I wrote down every single diagnoses that I have, and all the symptoms of it, along with all of the characteristics of them. And I analyzed my zodiac sign, my personality type, and I went through and I found similarities within each. I completely dissected my own brain. And I learned myself and why I am the way that I am. And, yes, I have mental health issues. I call it my alphabet soup for a reason. And, but I've been open and honest and candid about that. I don't come in a perfect package. I ain't perfect. I'm not going to sit here and try to be either. All I can do is the best as I can. And hopefully someday I'll have a man who can see past the alphabet soup. See past the alphabet soup. And be able to take out the letters that spell I love you from it. And give it to me as a gift. So I'm not the type of person that can be read in one sitting. I'm not someone that you can, read a chapter and then set it aside for a few months and then read the second chapter and then set aside for a few more months or a year and then pick it up again and read the next chapter and stuff. Because by the time you get to the end, I'm already on to book 6. I need a man who wants to learn me for a lifetime. As a Scorpio and who I am, I'm in a constant state of evolution. And the reason why I brought up the suicide in my past is to illustrate a point. It's because I'm not where I started. Not today. I'm not even remotely where I started. Because where I started on this journey, I was 108 pounds. I lost 8 pounds. Yay! But I was 100 pounds heavier. I had, I think, 3 or 4 chins, if I'm counting right. I got like this, I have 2 chins, but I got like 1.5 chins now. So I got like 1.5 chins now. But back then, I wasn't taking care of myself. I was eating all junk food. I wasn't taking care of my hygiene. I was so depressed that I didn't have a bed for 10 years. I kid you not. I would sleep on the couch. Ever since the third trimester of when I was pregnant with my son, up until the year 2000, I did not have a bed to sleep in. And so I slept out in the living room. And I would, I would lay down on the couch, fall asleep. I would wake up. Wouldn't even get dressed. I would just sit there and I would write. I want to do the best I could, being a mom and stuff throughout my depression, not my shining years. I'll admit that. I sucked as a mom during those years because of my depression. And I'll fully frickin' admit that. Candid, open, honest. I was not my best self back then. And I wish I was the woman I am today back then for them. Because this is the mom that they really needed. The more healed version. Now, and that sucked. And that was rough for my kids. But when I look back, I don't compare myself to other people. I compare myself to that slovenly woman I once was, where I literally had an ass indentation in my couch, people. There was the imprint of my butt cheeks, my big old booty, in that couch. Because I slept on it for 10 years. I lived on that couch. I was so depressed. Yet I still smashed goals. Even throughout my darkest point, I still managed to smash out goals. And I ended up getting published a lot, like 18 times. In that period of time. So I did manage to make my goals and keep them. But I was in such a freaking pathetic, lowly, degraded state. I was beaten down. It was awful. I remember, and I think to myself, I'm glad that version of me is dead. But if I had the opportunity to go back and talk to that former self of mine, the one that didn't wear makeup, the one who let her hair go, the one that let her body go, the one that sat there and ate junk food and ate her emotions until she was over 150 pounds overweight. The woman who, once she woke up in the morning, the first thought in her head was, I can't wait to go back to bed. If I could go back in time, I would go up to her and I would tell her, it's okay. You'll get through this. God is with you, and God is taking care of you. Just make it to the next day and keep writing, because that's what's keeping you alive, is the writing. Keep writing and don't stop. Even if people say anything bad about your writing, don't stop. Just keep going. And then instead of berating her and hating that former version of myself, I would give her the hug she so desperately fucking needs. And the one that she deserved to have. And I would tell her, I'm not leaving you. I'm going to stay with you. And I will hold your hand until you reach this point. Because you can make it. You can do it. And someday, somewhere down the road, you're going to meet someone who's going to read all of your pages, read all of your books. And once they're finished, they're still going to want more. And they'll want to read the rest of you every day, all day, until you naturally find your rest at the end of this life. So, I've come a long way. A long, long way. And I wish there was a before and after picture that I could provide for you guys to give you guys a more illustrative idea of who I once was. It was pretty bad. I was in a very dark place. And I clawed my way out of that. I self-educated. I had help. I had help from people who would send me links and articles and how-tos. And there was a couple therapists actually that I found on YouTube that I credit for helping me in my recovery. It was Therapy in the Nutshell and Duck Snipes. And I binge watched their videos for 4 months straight and got the equivalent of 2.5 years of therapy within that time. Because the therapy, I would go to therapy and it just felt like it wasn't working. I would go to my therapist's office and we'd have our talks and go over things and stuff. And it felt like I was going nowhere. And I'm like, I need more. I need more information so I can fix me. And so I sat there and I binge watched all of their videos. And I learned so much about myself. And I learned to change the way I think. And I still have a long way to go. I do. I'm never going to be satisfied with myself or my progress. I'm always going to want to improve more. And I love evolving. That's who I am. I'm in a constant state of change. And I'm always going to change. But my goal is to change for the better, not for the worse. I've already been at my worst. I ain't going back there. Because I remember all too well what it was like being the me that was me before. And it was pain. Now I feel pain now. I feel a lot of pain now. But I'm well equipped now to deal with it more so now than I was back then. But had I stayed the same, had I not taken those steps to change, to become who I am today, I wouldn't be sitting here making this video for you guys right now. I would have been gone a long time ago. Because that's where I was at. That's where I was at. I was on a one-way ticket into an early grave. There is always time to change. Any second of your life, you can decide differently. You have the capacity and the power within you to change. I have. And I continue to keep moving forward. And to those of you out there who are just starting on your path, to those of you who are currently in your dark night of the soul, I want you to stop for a second. And I want you to imagine your future self. Imagine yourself as who you would want to be. And imagine that future self coming to you in this moment right now. What would that future self tell you? What would they tell you? I think they would hold your hand and tell you to keep going. Don't quit on yourself. Don't stop. Don't let other people's opinions or thoughts stop you from becoming who you are meant to be. You can do it. Just keep moving forward. And if nobody's told you today, I'm proud of you for how far you've come. If nobody has told you that they're proud of you for the progress that you've made, I want to be the one to tell you today, at this very moment, I'm fucking proud of you. If you decided to quit drugs, I'm proud of you. If you've got people who are hounding you, accusing you of still doing drugs, and you're not, don't let them bother you. Keep going. You've got this. There's no way backwards. There's only forward progression. Because the past is the past. It's long buried. That former version of you no longer exists. You are who you are today at this very moment. This is who you are. Right now, as you're watching this, you are who you are right now. And you have yet to become the awesome that you can be. You just have to keep pressing forward. And don't quit on yourself. You've got this. So keep going. You're not alone in the struggle. You're not alone. And if you need me, I'm just a message away. You guys are more than welcome to message me anytime you want to. I would prefer in my comments section and not subliminals, but a girl can hope. But if you need me, I'm here. Because I know what it's like to be alone. And I want you to know, you're not alone. You guys take care. God bless. Say some prayers tonight, especially for those who are struggling. Because I hit a dark patch just a few days ago. So if you know of somebody who's facing hard times, pray. And if you have the power to put a smile on that person's face, do it. Do it. Because you'd actually be really surprised. Just one simple smile can do for someone, especially in their darkest day. And I'll admit something to you guys right now. There have been times that I have been so horribly, horribly, darkly depressed during this whole situation that I'm in. So horribly depressed that I would scroll on my YouTube feed and I would see a meme. And sometimes that meme got me through the day. Helped me survive through that really bad day. You would be surprised, really surprised, the effect that you have on people. And how such a simple gesture as in posting a meme can change a person's day and sometimes even their life. The little things do count. The little things do matter. It's not always about grandiose gestures. It's the simple daily kindnesses that can sometimes make a profound effect on someone's life and can change the trajectory of someone's life even. So, to those of you who have put a smile on my face in my darkest times, I want you to know, thank you. Outside note, I'm weird. I'm weird. I am definitely different. I am definitely different. I am not like normal people. I'm not like normal people. I'm just Jules. I'm just Jules. That's all I am. I'm not perfect. There are times when I'm a right foul bitch. I'll own the shit out of that. I have my moments. But I'm not going back. Not to who I was. I already held my funeral for that version of me. But I remember where I came from. And that in of itself is humbling. Because I know where I came from. I know where I came from. That's all I have for you guys today. You guys have a good evening. I could quote Truman Show right now. Good afternoon. If I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I totally tripped over that. Butchered that. Good morning, Truman. Good morning, and if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Had to do it. It was there. I gotta crack a joke at my own expense now. Come on now. If I didn't have a sense of humor, I would have gone batshit by now. So, anyways, y'all, you guys have a good night. I've got stuff to do. I'll talk to you guys later.